So here's Max again. He spoke about the incredible trials he faced to become a legal resident, not even yet a citizen yet.
Yeah.
He he was born in the Soviet Union and saw the Soviet Union just before it collapsed when he came to the United States. What was your reaction when coming to this country and the compare and contrast from your home country to this one?
Yeah, it was just a magical almost experience. The difference was obvious to see. When we got into a car from the airport, we were surprised how many lights, how many bright colors, the billboards, the advertisements, all this explosion of life and color all over, all around us. When you turned on the television, it was just fascinating, and I was glued to it in this country like I had never been in my life. The television in the Soviet Union wasn't really worth watching. There was nothing really good on it. Life over there it's just very gray. It's colorless.
So that would you say that's
bland?
That's a result of communism, that it creates that.
Absolutely.
Did you? I mean, you were a child. You were like 6 when you came here for the first time. And then you went back and lived there for 4 years again, from 6 to 10. I think I'm getting the timeline right. And then you came back when it was. But I want to focus on the experience right under communism. Did you ever live in fear, or your parents live in fear? Were you aware of that, or had perceived that?
I wasn't old enough to know anything about what life could be like under communism. We were believers. I grew up in a Christian family. We went once a week to the Central Church in the center of Moscow. There's an old Baptist church that we would attend.
Was that like secretive though? I thought that was outlawed.
It was. You didn't go around talking about it.
Fair enough. So you experienced religious liberty, but it had to be very, very quiet.
It had to be a private experience. Yeah.
Okay. Because what would be the consequence if someone in authority had learned about this? For what your parents had informed you, or what you...
Right. My mom worked... She was a physicist, and she was working at a microchip factory, and she was threatened routinely. We know who your contacts are. We know you've been talking to Americans.
Is that true? Was that true? I'm just asking.
It's a culture of heresy hunts, and it was just a paranoid culture over there for, constantly looking for counter-revolutionaries and all that.
Wow, that's awful. They threatened her job, your father's job, their life,
She doesn't... Eventually my dad chose to become a pastor, and she chose to join him abroad when he went to study.
Okay.
And then when he came back, the goal was that he would go study and then return home to serve.
He was committed to Russia.
With a mission to come back.
Okay. I understand now that evangelism has actually been outlawed now in Russia. Is that true?
I'm not aware of the current
it's like people can't
situation.
stand anymore and proselytize openly. That's a law that was recently passed by the Duma. You didn't hear about that, or?
I didn't.
That's pretty shocking. I mean, I had read that, and it's like only tight groups. It has to be indoors. There can be no sharing of faiths outside of the Russian Orthodox faith, I believe. But I mean, the general consent of the law was passed to stop proselytation of faith. The argument is we want to stop the spread of Islam, but it's now hurting Christian missionaries. So I don't know. Do you? I'm going down into different paths.
It wouldn't surprise me.
Do you talk to your parents a lot? Do you commute with them once a week by email, by phone, or?
We talk, but they don't, discuss political situations. For good measure, my parents say, my dad says, we are in support of the current ruling administration.
They have to provide that line.
Every time we call on the phone, it's just a joke.
Oh, I got you. Okay. All right. I mean, I used to hear, I know KGB is gone, but the leader of the KGB is now the president, or the former one, with Putin. So I want to switch to, you tell me what you had experienced and then the contrast here. How do you respond when you see college students today who they seem to be, fascinated with and want to promote socialism or even communism?
Yeah, I'm baffled because this is the system that we've fled from to come to this country. Do they not realize this? We've ran away from socialism and its consequences and the implosion that it's brought to my home country, to the point where it's been devastated, to the point where so many Russians don't want to live there.
Even now, Russians want out. Even now.
Yeah, I mean, how do you turn a society that's been ruled for 70 years or something like that by communism? All the structures, all the buildings, there's still hammers and sickles all over the place.
Even now?
Absolutely. No,
really?
You can see
it's been 27 years now.
Most of the historic buildings still have the Union of Soviet Socialist Republics written on them. Hammer and sickle, you'll find it everywhere.
Okay.
It's not gone. It's.
Would you say it's still quasi-communistic?
See, that's my big fear about Russia, that they will come back, because the defining moment in Russian recent history is the 1996 election, when Boris Yeltsin beat out a communist, Gennady Zyuganov. There's two candidates running, essentially, Yeltsin and the communist. And Yeltsin beat him out just by a hair.
It was really close? They were gonna, you mean the people were about ready to bring back a communist government?
Yes, we could have had the USSR all over again.
Wow.
1996, yeah.
Okay. There was an incident that happened at one of the colleges you were talking about.
Yes, I tried to attend a lecture by Ben Shapiro at Cal State Los Angeles, and I was shocked that I could see what I saw there in America, on an American university campus. What happened was a group of students, they could have been students, I don't know, but they formed a mosh pit, essentially, around 100, I'd say, of them, around the entrance to the lecture hall. They were bullying, they were pushing and shoving and punching anybody who tried to come in. Wow. And the police stood there and did nothing about it. And I couldn't believe I was witnessing this kind of thuggery happening in America, and the authorities were allowing it to happen. That was the moment that really defined my political view from then on. I firmly came down on the conservative side.
That was like the turning point for you.
Yes.
So you mean you had more liberal? You had
I realized the enemies. They basically want us dead.
Yes.
They want us to shut up, and they're willing to use violence to achieve that goal.
Would you say this reminds you of the government that was at work in Russia?
Well,
from what your parents have told you, because I know your recollection is...
Russia
a little
is just... In Russia, they say we have a legal system that goes like this: bring us the person and we will find you the applicable code of law.
Really?
So,
wow.
give us the man and we'll find you the law that he's broken. So it's over there. It's hard to really grasp how. I've read Solzhenitsyn. I've read Gulag Archipelago, at least half of it, and it's horrifying. People, they didn't receive justice over there. They had a government that was actively hostile, actively was seeking to destroy them by any means. Yeah, and if it had to take you through a show trial, if they had to torture you, if they had to put you on a train, send you on the other side of the globe to a prison camp, what's one more person, one more statistic to the government?
And this will be my last question. What do you think it will take to start getting these college students and others to wake up and realize the dangers of communism, socialism, of statism?
The sad thing is, I think it will take them having to achieve what they're fighting for to realize how horrifying it will be, and how malevolent that system is, how arbitrary, how capricious, and how ruthless, and to realize that when they achieve their goal, they're going to be the first ones that are going to be lined up and tortured, shot, and sent to prison camps. I think they really need to go to a system, to a country that has this system that they're yearning for. They need to really study. They need to read Solzhenitsyn. They need to go to a country that has the system that they want. And take a look, take a good look, and ask if this is really what they want. And could they live even for a day under that system? I'm willing to bet you they wouldn't, they couldn't, even if they wanted to.
Thank you for that. I know it's a stark and severe subject. Thank you for sharing that with us.
You're welcome.